We have one item of business to cover, that being the approval of board members and officer nominations. I'd like to call the meeting to order and note that we do have a quorum. We are pleased that the nominating committee, with the board's support, brings forth a qualified, energetic slate of nominees for membership approval. Will the nominees please stand when I call your name? Please hold your applause till I have introduced all of them. Officers: Regina Fodness, Canal Park Business Association and Canal Park Lodge. Chair: Jen Ryan, Bremer Bank, Vice Chair. Bill Olson, Kraus Anderson, Secretary Treasurer. Mike Polzine, Pier B Resort, past Board Chair. For our first term, Patty McGaffey, Oneida Realty. John Pryor, Essentia Health. Sarah Rolfson, Zeitgeist Arts. For a second term, Eric Johnson, Freiberger Law Firm. Our bylaws provide that we will accept this slate by acclamation. All those in favor proposed of the slate of candidates, please say aye. This concludes our official business portion of the meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn? Congratulations. At this time, I would like to introduce the returning 2020 board members. Please stand when your name is called. Kim Chick, ZMC Hotels. Jax Eisenman, Graceland Ballroom by Blackwoods. Eric Forsman, Minnesota Power. Adam Fulton, City of Duluth. Matt Gottwald, North Shore Bank. Dave Jench, KBJR. Pam Kramer, Lisk. Tammy Lepole Edmonds, Art in the Alley. Mike Maxim, Dublin Irish Brew Pub. Jessica Stauber, St. Luke's. Carol Valentini, Valentini's Restaurant. And Bree Waldock, Maurice's. Please give them an applause. I would also like to recognize an outgoing board member this evening, Diane Davidson of Essentia Health. Diane was a strong voice at our table and brought great insight as her organization made plans for its significant investment in our downtown. Not only does she work downtown, but she also lives downtown and brought that perspective to our board. Diane, please come forward to accept this recognition on our behalf. As the GDC, we have accomplished a lot in 2019, and we are going to accomplish even more in 2020 with the final phase of Superior Street reconstruction with Season 3. It will be vital that we all go out during that time and support all of our local businesses. One thing we are proud of here at the GDC is we are growing along with the downtown. Great things are happening, and we are your advocate. We are all going to need to remain unified during Season 3 of Superior Street reconstruction and Lake Avenue. An organization is as strong as its leadership and members behind it. Our board is strong, and we have good, committed leaders serving our community. The staff provides the glue and foundation for our organization. I would love to introduce the fantastic staff here at the GDC. Darlene Marshall, our Special Events Coordinator. And Brittany Lint, our Office and Special Projects Manager. Now, it's my privilege to welcome to the stage our president, celebrating her 20th year of leadership in 2020, Christy Stokes.
Well, good evening. Great to see such a crowd out there. Thank you, Regina. It has been such a pleasure working with Regina as our board chair. Glad to have her back for another term. She is just someone who is so passionate about the downtown waterfront. She has a lot of energy. I know she loves public speaking, and she has an incredibly kind heart. So, Regina, I'm proud to call you a friend as well. Well, tonight I want to offer a special thanks to all of you for supporting our downtown, for investing in our downtown, and believing in the Greater Downtown Council. And to our sponsors, your support is amazing. It's priceless. Thank you so much. This is our 35th annual dinner meeting, and it's probably one of just a handful where we have been above zero outside. So it's great to be able to be here and be talking about 30 degrees outside. Thank you so much. And no matter what, we always pack the house, so I appreciate that. I'd like to also recognize our elected officials with us here tonight, so I'd like to ask you to stand. Mayor Emily Larson, Duluth City Councilors Eric Forsman, Roz Randorf, Gary Anderson, Derek Medved, Zach Filipovich, Janet Kennedy, and Barb Russ, as well as County Commissioners Beth Olson and Frank Jewell. Well, one of my favorite awards tonight is to provide an honor and recognition for our Clean and Safe Ambassador of the Year. So we hear so many great things about our team members throughout the year, and it is always such an honor for me to recognize that standout individual. Cecile Simonson, Cecile, if you can come forward. Cecile is our Senior Hospitality and Safety Ambassador. And I'll just have you wait down there for a minute. She recently celebrated her 10-year anniversary with us. Not only is she an integral part of our Clean and Safe team and its mission by day, but she is also a committed and compassionate full-time hospice worker in our community. So Cecile's reputation is as a reliable and consistent resource, and she's with local businesses, with the employees, with the residents in our downtown. And here is just one great example, and I don't even know if Cecile's heard this one. Over the holidays, I received a note from a family from St. Cloud, and they shared that they were in the Skywalk when they ran into Cecile, and they asked her for directions to a restaurant in Canal Park. Not only did she give them the directions, but then she caught up with them, walked them to the restaurant, gave them all kinds of great information about our downtown, and just went above and beyond by guiding them to that restaurant. And so they reached out to us after that trip, and they said she was so amazing and an unexpected delight. She made our whole day and our whole trip 10 out of 5 stars. Congratulations, Cecile. Well, we don't typically recognize 2 team members, but tonight we are, because I also have a life-saving award for our team leader. Last November, a woman with diminished mobility boarded an escalator downtown, and shortly after boarding, unfortunately, she lost her balance and tumbled backwards on the moving escalator. As it continued to carry her, her clothing also became entangled in the steps and began to tighten around her. Thankfully, Clean and Safe team leader Brian Peel, Brian, if you'd come forward, was walking close by on the skywalk level when the incident caught his attention. He jumped into action, coming to the woman's aid. A bystander assisted him, and maintenance workers were quickly there, able to reverse the escalator and free the woman. Brian's quick reactions and compassion for others likely averted a very unfortunate tragedy. So congratulations to Brian. Well, our entire team, our Clean and Safe team, led by Operations Manager Scott Jenkins. Scott, I know you're out there. Stand up, please. It is truly one of the biggest reasons we were again successful this past year in recertifying our special service district for 2020. And thank you to so many of the property owners who are with us tonight. You have agreed to pool your resources, and it's really helped to provide such services in our downtown. And thank you to the City of Duluth for being a partner with us all along on this. It is truly a private-public partnership. From our Clean and Safe team to our streetscape planters, our hanging baskets, our special event support, this is all things that is provided by our service district, and they help grow our downtown and make it stronger. And we are stronger. So we have a membership that is healthy with more than 330 businesses, from large corporations to small entrepreneurs. We're pleased to be that united voice out there for the business community. And in these times of workforce challenges, we're also excited that a new daycare is coming to our downtown, as a lease for Masabi Preschool Academy was just signed last week with A&L. With childcare shortages in our community, this is a welcomed addition. We have a Main Street that will see its final year of reconstruction. Yes, 2 years down and just 1 to go. Yes. I want to offer a special thanks to St. Luke's, Essentia Health, Minnesota Power, Maurice's, North Shore Bank, and BOMA. These businesses contributed financially this past year to keep our downtown in the spotlight with marketing efforts during Superior Street reconstruction. And to our media sponsors, a special shout out as well: KBGR, CBS 3, WDIO, Fox 21, Town Square, Midwest, Duluth News Tribune, and Lamar. What great partners we have for that. Well, I look ahead to this year with some great optimism. Yes, there will be some short-term challenges for us. We will have some of that road construction, other kind of construction, detours, and some limited access. But this construction means amazing progress for our downtown, and it brings long-term rewards. Not only are we moving into the third and final year of Superior Street reconstruction, but we also have great work happening in the medical district. Essentia Health's $800 million project is underway, and next week, the first of 3 construction cranes will be in place, signaling a new phase in this project. Meanwhile, St. Luke's has made tremendous progress on its $300 million project. And then we can't forget about MnDOT's Twin Ports Interchange project impacting travel into our downtown this summer. Please note, we are bringing all of these parties together, the medical district, MnDOT, City of Duluth, and others, so that we are sharing a unified message this spring about what to expect and how to navigate in our downtown. We will continue to be a destination. We will continue to host events and provide an amazing experience in the downtown. None of this will stop us. We just need to make sure that people know how to get here when they embark on their journey. And this is just one example of how the GDC is helping to shape our community. Additionally, we continue to pursue initiatives to further improve connectivity between Canal Park and the core downtown. Lake Avenue is a viaduct that some would say isn't exactly pedestrian friendly, and it will see some improvements this summer, but we would love to see even more. So we will be working and advocating on that. We will also continue to work with the city towards the goal of expanding the Skywalk east from the Tech Village to the medical district. And most importantly, we will continue to be that united voice for our business community. We are here as your advocate, we are here as your strong voice, and the GDC is here as your visionary leader. Another role we play is serving as your liaison to City Hall. We provide that expertise and knowledge about making the right connections with the right departments throughout City Hall so that you, as our business owners, can focus on your business. And it has been a privilege to work with Mayor Emily Larson during this past term, and we look forward to another 4 years. She has just had some steady leadership, and she has been such a friend of the downtown. When we talk about road construction, there are so many times when she just calls and says, what can we do? How can we help? How can we make sure we are supporting you? And that is so appreciated. She knows that our success in the downtown is the community's success. I appreciate her energy, her optimism, and her love for our city. So please help me provide a warm welcome to Mayor Emily Larson.
Oh, good evening, everybody. Good evening. Okay, let's try it again. Good evening, everybody. That was way better. I know you are here because you have passion about this community, and it is great to see a full room. Thank you, Christy, for that great introduction. I love working with you. I love working with this organization, and we have so much big work to do this year, and I'm excited about that. This is a big event to put together, so thank you for the team at the Greater Downtown Council, the board, and volunteers. We have a table of city staff here, and I thank you for being amazing colleagues, for working hard, for putting people first, and for always reminding me and us of what brings us to this work, which is about making this community better, stronger, safer, more vibrant, all the things. So thank you for that. And it's nice to have dinner with you, Doug. So in the last few months, I took a couple of trips. I actually got out of Duluth, which doesn't happen for me very often. I'm kind of a homebody, and it turns out my day job's really busy. So I have a hard time traveling, but I went to a few different cities. I went to Boston, and then I went to New York. And it turns out that you can get a mayor out of their city, but you can't get the city out of the mayor. And here's what I mean about that. I realized I may not be a great traveling companion because as my friend was getting a receipt for something, I said, "Oh, will you hang on to that because I want to see the sales tax." And then we were walking down the street and I was like, I cannot believe they're just doing mill and overlay. This needs a total overhaul. And then literally this last weekend when I was in New York, I said to my friends, I wonder how they did the land assembly for that museum and got the public easements. And I realized I had to go back home. As much as I love to travel and see other places, my heart is here. Our hearts are here. And the thing that I love about getting out of Duluth is how much it reminds me and us about how much is important right here in front of us. That we are a downtown that is activated, that has storefront activity, that has restaurants, that has theater, that has financial efforts, that has so much going on, that is busy. We have been taking power walks through the Skywalk lately, me and city staff, and I am telling you, it is busy downtown, and it feels great to see. We are a downtown that is totally invested in our local economy, whether that is partnering with larger institutions or working with our individual entrepreneur. We are there, we are showing up, and we are working with Christy and membership to say, how do you need to see us show up and tell us what we can do bigger and better and bolder with you. And we are a city and a downtown that actually does want to make sure you have enough parking. So we're always working on that and doing everything that we can to keep this city being everything that it is to all of us. So I want to thank you for who you are. It's a big deal to have a room full of 650 people who have many other places you could be. But you're here because you believe in this organization, this mission, and I'm sure you want to hear Bill's great speech. I mean, I'm sure, yeah. And he's ready to give that. But we do have a big year ahead, and we love infrastructure and streets so much that we're doing it again this year. It is our third year. You've already heard a little bit about that. But there are going to be inconveniences. We will be there with you the way we have, and we will show up in a big and important way. But this is also what a city looks like that believes in itself, that invests in itself, that thinks we are worth an infrastructure in a city and a medical district and housing that works for people in this community. So I am with you in keeping our eyes on that beautiful prize that is ahead of us. We have such a terrific year ahead. Thank you for all that you do, and let's get a ton done together this year. Thank you.
Well, it is hard to really pinpoint where or how tonight's speaker has best left his mark in our community. Bill Bennett grew up in Iowa, and then he ventured to Kansas, but fishing and the outdoor life really led him to Duluth. We are so fortunate for that. When he first started as a project engineer at LHB in 1980, the company had 7 employees. In 2001, Bill became the CEO of LHB. He led the growth of the organization from approximately 80 employees to nearly 260 with 4 office locations. LHB has been really part of the evolution of our downtown, and I know Bill will touch on some of that tonight. He has led the company with bold vision, and all the while, he has remained dedicated to really building relationships to help shape our community. Bill has been involved with the GDC for years and served as our chair of the board in 2006. I recall years ago when a former mayor named Don Ness was still a city councilor, and he joined some of our transportation planning led by Bill. It eventually resulted in some of our stronger connections in our downtown that we have today, including the DTA Transportation Center and the improved Northwest Passage. In my nearly 20 years, this is my 20th year with the GDC, I must share that Bill was among our greatest board chairs and one of my favorites. So it is really hard to believe that he will be retiring from LHB, and I believe it's about 9 days. Last week, I did share a little research that I did, and I'm going to share it again tonight. When I asked some of Bill's colleagues to share words that best describe him, these are some of the things I heard. Thorough, he is an engineer, so perhaps super thorough. Driven, tireless, devoted, professional but approachable, and an amazing advocate. Perhaps my favorite, though, was what someone said about Bill was that he is our North Star. They said he has had a constant presence in their career and has been someone they could rely on for guidance. And so don't we all really hope that we have that North Star in our lives, or as leaders that we can be that North Star for someone in this community? Please help me provide a warm welcome to Bill Bennett.
Okay, thank you so much, Christy. It's a real pleasure to be here tonight. I attend a lot of these kind of annual meetings. I'm always so impressed with the qualifications of the speaker. Often it's something like the speaker in her spare time is a concert pianist and speaks 4 languages. As I was listening to Christy introduce me, I was thinking, my credentials aren't anything like that. I was thinking that I should have mentioned to her, though, that I actually do speak 3 languages. I don't think Christy even knew that. Yes, that would have impressed all of you, right? 3 languages. Soak it in just a little bit. The first language that I learned was Southwest Iowan. You might not think that's a special language, but it is. There we would say, I'm going to have a pop down by the crick, and that's crick with an I. Second language that I learned was South Central Kansan, and there we would say, hey y'all, I'm going to have a soda down by the creek. The third language that I've been trying to learn since 1980 has been Northeastern Minnesotan. And here we would say something like, I'm going to have a soda down by the creek, eh? 3 languages. Are you impressed or what? Thank you. Okay, enough silliness. Let's get on. So I got 3 topics I really want to talk about tonight, and one is I want to talk about a higher purpose that I believe we all need to be thinking about. I want to talk about the story that we at LHB and I personally have been on the journey for, and then a few tips to close things. So first of all, higher purpose. As I think back in my career, when I first started in the mid to late 70s in the industry, a lot of us were boomers, and then we were working for traditionalists. And I think as I thought about what drove us at that point, it was all about job security and really just trying to make sure that we could take care of our family. As time has gone by and the generations have evolved into different characteristics, I think what I have seen is that it's become more and more critical for us all to talk about and think about that higher purpose. And I think for us in the business and industry that I'm in, what I try to make the connection to our staff is the higher purpose is a lot of the projects that we do really is very influential and impactful to many other stakeholders and clients that we're working with. For instance, if we're doing a school project, think of all the kids that go through those schools and the families that we're helping build. And that higher purpose has been critical, I think, more recently as your staff that you all are hiring, they're thinking about it. And if you don't think they're thinking about it, then you need to probably start talking to them a little more, because it's been an eye-opener for me. And it's not the same for all of our staff, but it definitely has been a point. It's that way also for clients. We have clients that want to know what our values as a company are, to know whether our values match their values. For me personally, community has been the higher purpose that I've always gravitated to. And the community for me was an easy step, because for me, our business is all about relationships. And for me, the community brought me into relationships. But what I didn't realize when I got into the community and thinking that it was going to build relationships, I didn't realize how important it was going to be to me. As I look back on my career, I can honestly tell you that those relationships that we've built, not just clients, but just associates and business people that I've met in all the various things that I've been involved with, they are the things that I think back of very fondly. So I want to encourage all of you to think about how you might be able to better impact the community, find that higher purpose that it can be. And some of the things that I just wanted to give you some ideas how it has helped me go about that is business organizations like GDC. There's committees, there's boards, all of those things. There's city boards and commissions that people can be involved in. Volunteering on special efforts. Statewide business. For me, I chose to go onto the Minnesota Chamber Board, and that connected me with leaders across the state, and that's been very special to me. Philanthropic organizations are another, United Way and others. Political advocacy. I put that on the list because I believe we should all be involved in some kind of political advocacy, if nothing else, to explain how it impacts our businesses and our organizations that we belong to. And then lastly, your work. And I wanted, as I was thinking through what I was going to say tonight, I really thought about what jazzes me and what really is important to me, and what is very gratifying to me is in the downtown area especially, I can't walk a block without crossing a project that either I personally or our company has been involved in. I just took a Google shot of the Canal Park and the waterfront and then Michigan Street. And these are all projects that we have either designed or been involved with. And that's what's really, it really kind of sets down roots for you. And people ask me, are you going to keep the headquarters in Duluth? This is important to us of why our roots are here and why it's important for us to be in Duluth. A few of the stats, and you heard some of those. We were founded in 1966 by one person. It was Lauren Larson was his name. He was a structural engineer. And so we were structural engineering consultants working with other architects for a number of years. Our first project was the Duluth Arena Auditorium, and you can see a photo of it on the slide there of what it was in the very beginning. 1980, I came to the company, and as Christy said, we had 7 staff at that time. 2019, now we have 260 staff. Headquarters has always been in Duluth because of those roots and because of our base that we felt was important. We also now have 5 offices, 3 in Minnesota, 2 in Wisconsin, and we have a startup in Rochester, Minnesota. I wanted to just fill you in a little bit, and I'm asking you to kind of think, these are 1960s, 70s, and 80s. If you think about it, that's 40, 50, 60 years ago. These are projects that our company worked on and designed, but they're iconic projects that we walk by every day, and we have no clue that they ever, when were they started, and they've always been there. But I just wanted to run through them real quick here to give you a sense of those. Filling the slips, so the arena auditorium itself was actually finger slips that we dredged material and dumped it into the slips, and then everything's built on piling down in this area. Pioneer Hall was one of the add-ons to the original arena auditorium a few years after it had been built. Copper Peak Ski Flying Facility still exists. It's over near Ironwood. It was the highest ski flying facility in the world, and that was designed by the small structural office that Lauren led at that time. Central High School, we hear that in the news all the time. That's one that we did the structural on back in the 70s. The Duluth YMCA, the original Duluth YMCA. We've done a number of these projects where we've remodeled them now, but to me it's amazing that these projects are still around. They're viable, iconic projects, and I'd ask you to think about the projects we're doing today. Our kids and grandkids and their grandkids are gonna be thinking and seeing those projects. The Gateway Towers, Canal Park Visitor Center, these were all done, we did the structural back in the 70s. Crane design, so we think of Clyde Iron, the restaurant, and Heritage Hockey. We actually worked for Clyde Iron doing massive cranes. So they actually designed the largest crane in the world at the time, and that's right here in Duluth, Minnesota. The picture that I have up on the screen was one of the projects that I designed probably the first 5 years that I came to Duluth, was actually a ship-mounted crane that was going to be used to build an oil derrick off the coast of Australia in the ocean. And it was a 3,000-ton lift, which is a huge crane. And it looks similar to that. What I designed on that was the boom is the thing that goes out over the ship, and the A-frame is the first one that goes up and to the right. And so it looks like, the reason it's called an A-frame is it looks like an A if you laid it on the ground and you look down at it. It all comes together at a pretty concentrated area at the top. I was designing steel that was 3-inch thick. I've never designed anything to that magnitude since, but 3-inch thick steel, and that was done right here in Duluth, Minnesota. Pretty impressive. Lyric Block Holiday Center was done in the 70s. We did the structural engineering for that. The downtown skywalks, I'm not even going to go into which one was first. I don't know if you've been watching the Duluth News Tribune, but so we designed the first skywalks around the downtown. Duluth Radisson Hotel and Ramp, that was in 1970. Elite MP headquarters, that was 77, where they actually wrapped there's 3 buildings there that are together. Allworth Lonsdale buildings, so we've worked with Oneida for a long time, but those are iconic buildings that have always been there. We didn't design the buildings, they were before us, but we've done a lot of work on them. Interstate 35 that was in the 80s. That decade, those projects got built. U.S. Bank, we did the structural for U.S. Bank with an architect in Minneapolis. Grandma Saloon and Deli, we did all of those. So it's kind of our heritage. When you look at some of these projects, to me, it's pretty impressive that these were done way back then and they're still viable today. So we were thinking about what do we do? We're structural engineers, and we had to ask ourselves, where do we go from here? And we felt like we really needed to grow. So we knew we needed more capabilities. And we had to ask ourselves, do we do that from Duluth? Do we go to the Twin Cities? Whatever it might be. And the answer was yes to that. It was also, we needed to expand elsewhere, and the answer was yes to that. So that's what we embarked on to really start to expand. And so I wanted to just, I'm going to go through this list really quick, but I wanted to give everybody, a lot of people know us for one area that we do work with them on, and they don't realize that we're so diversified. And I just want to give you a real quick snapshot of what we have sort of become to give you a sense of it. The picture in the upper left-hand corner, it's called the Nordic. It's a 10-story above street grade down in Minneapolis. It's right next to our Minneapolis office in the North Loop. We did this for United Properties, who, those of you that are familiar, we did Kenwood Village in Duluth with United Properties. They're a great client of ours, and then there's a parking ramp in the background. So that one we're pretty proud of right next to our. But we have buildings and we have infrastructure, and I'm just going to flip through these really quick. Commercial, we did the Duluth Technology Village, we did the middle schools, and then we just got done with Superior Schools. We have a government group. We do work for the 148th. Healthcare, Essentia has been a great client. We're involved in the Vision Northland project that they have underway. The wellness center that just opened in Hermantown, we worked on that with the Y and the community, with the city, and then Essentia. We have a housing group, so we have the largest affordable housing group in the state. We just merged with, there were two of us that were prime competitors, and we just acquired them. So we now doubled our capabilities in affordable housing. The one locally here that you would recognize is the San Marco, which is on the right. The one on the left is an award-winning project that we did in St. Paul. We do industrial, where we do heavy industrial. We have a pipeline group where Enbridge Energy is a great client. We do a lot of transmission and utility work with those kinds of companies. Public Works, the two that I thought you'd recognize, of course, was the aerial lift bridge and the Superior Street. One of the specialties we do is high performance. This is sustainability or LEED that you might think of. That most people know of. There's a whole number of other things that systems that are evaluated. The thing that we did differently, I think, in this area was that we actually started to measure the things that were related to the high performance and sustainability. And so we've been leading that in the state for a number of years now. Something that I didn't think would ever happen in my lifetime was virtual reality and augmented reality. We've worked hard to really lead that effort. So we've used it. We're using it more and more in the design of projects. We used it on the Superior Schools for the stakeholder experience. So you got kids with the headset on, and they're experiencing the schools before it's built, getting excited about it in the design phase. We used it for legislative support. I had Dave Senjem, who's the chair of the Senate Bonding Committee. He had a headset on, and we were showing him the Hermantown Wellness Center when we were trying to help find money for them in the bonding bill. So it's an effective tool for many things. Staff input on Vision Northland. The staff were able to put the headsets on and really experience and give input in the design. And then, of course, Superior Street for community input. I wanted to just touch on a few defining moments in my career to kind of get you inside some of my highlights that I think of. But, I need to first say that anybody that's run a business, every payroll is a defining moment. And I think we can all relate to that. Exactly. So that the two that I wanted to, so what this graph is this is actually the Architectural Billing Index. And essentially the way to look at it is if the red line is above the yellow line, then the building industry is in a growth mode. And if it's below the line, it's in a contraction mode. And the two blue shaded areas are the two areas I want to talk about that are defining moments for me in my career, and maybe many of you. The first was the 9/11 terrorist attack in New York City. The second was the Great Recession in 2008. And I just want to talk about each of those a little bit. I was selected as CEO in May of 2001. I had a conference set up for Washington, D.C. at the end of August. And my wife and I had never really been to the East Coast, so we decided we were going to extend. So went to D.C., rented a car, wanted to see the Pentagon because we do a lot of work with the Air Guard. So we drove by the Pentagon, drove by Baltimore Harbor. I wanted to see it, and then we drove up to New York City. This photo that's up on the chart there is a photo that I took on September 6th of 2001. So that was 5 days before the World Trade Centers that are in the middle of that picture came down. So we left New York City on the 8th of September 2001, 3 days before 9/11. We then drove to West Virginia to see relatives, and we were going to fly out of Pittsburgh. So if you think about what I just said there, Pentagon got hit, the New York City, the World Trade Center came down, and the third plane happened at Pittsburgh, just outside of Pittsburgh. So it was a pretty eerie thing for me, and that's how I started my CEO career. But what it did for me, it really made me think about relationships and the importance of relationships and how we need to value every one of those relationships that we have and build and the moments that we go about. So it was a changing point. It was a message from above for me, and it was one of those that really impacted me. The 2008 Great Recession for architectural firms were struggling big time. Architectural firms probably across the industry reduced about 30 to 40%. Engineering firms reduced about 10 to 20%. And we were fortunate enough that we were diversified and we were able to keep it to around 5% or so. And I really chalk that up to good and faithful clients, but two that I want to single out really that helped us as a company during that critical time was really the Duluth schools. We did the two middle schools for Duluth schools, and that kept a lot of architectural people busy during a time when there were a whole lot of people getting laid off in the industry. The other was Enbridge Energy. We were doing a lot of work with Enbridge Energy. We were able to take other people in the company and put them onto those projects, and those two probably were the most impact in us getting through that Great Recession. The last defining moment I wanted to touch on, and you've seen all these photos, is the flood. I do want to just highlight on the right there, that's Trunk Highway 2, just down the hill from Proctor. And so we were hired by DOT to help them reconstruct that roadway and the embankment that it was. But the thing I wanted to point out is part of that material is what ended up in the zoo. So that empties into Kingsbury Creek, which then filled up all the culverts and all the waterway down in the zoo. The thing I'm so proud about this was our response. We had clients that trusted us. They called us. We helped them assess their bridges and structures across their systems. We had over 70 that we inspected, over 20 that we actually did bridge design replacements for, and then over 40 for the repairs and rehabilitations, and then over 25 roads. The picture that you see there is actually the swinging bridge in the Jay Cook State Park. We were actually working on that project with the DNR to rehabilitate the bridge when the flood came. The flood took it out, as you know, and so we then were hired by the DNR to reconstruct the bridge. So the picture on the right is the reconstructed bridge. There's a number of accolades and recognition that we're probably the only ones that care about, but things that are important with top workplaces. So we received that the last 4 years. We also were on the list of the fastest growing design firms in the nation from 2013 to 2016. And then we also have been on the list since 2011 for the largest design companies in the country. So I just wanted to close with some, I call this tips from the old guy. And so critical issues, and I say this to the businesses that I believe these are critical issues that we as businesses need to accommodate. I believe it's critical issues that the communities need to accommodate and really think about. And the first one, on every survey that I've ever seen from the business side especially, is finding staff. We just need to make sure we can find staff. We got a lot of retirements. It's becoming a more and more critical issue. I listed 3 things that I know are critical on Emily's list of things that she's got in her sites. They're on every business organization's list. It's diversity and inclusion, it's housing, and childcare shortage. All of those are things we get asked by people that we're trying to hire in order for them to think about, are they going to come to work for us in Duluth, Minnesota? If we don't solve these things that I'm listing here, then we won't be able to grow as a community to the level that we really should. So finding staff, number 1. Cybersecurity, I think anybody that's in the digital world is being hit by cybersecurity, but anything we can do as a community effort to really make sure that we are positioned well to help businesses and organizations get through the cybersecurity problems is absolutely critical. Extreme politics, for me, and this is whether it's left or right, businesses have a tough time maneuvering when the dial flips one way or another drastically either way. So incremental change, I believe, is the right thing to do from a business perspective, and extreme politics are very hard because we're making decisions for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road, just like government is in every organization. Adding hurdles to business, and things that I would talk about are workforce mandates. And the thing that I would say, most of the businesses, if you're a strong business, you can get through 1 or 2 of those. But the caution I would just lay out for the community is when those get added on top of each other over and over and over again, now you're running the risk of, can people survive and can you really maintain it? So I just ask that you really think about that going forward, about their adding additive nature. And then the last critical issue that I wanted to talk about was waterfront development, industrial versus tourism. And my feeling, and there's a lot of discussion that has gone on, but I feel very strongly that we need both, and it needs to be a balance. If you think about it, the tourists are coming to Duluth to see the waterborne commerce. That's what makes us really special. So, but at the same time, we need people to work in the waterborne commerce, and they need their families to want to come to Duluth. So the tourist component is really critical to make it a great place to be. So I believe both of those are absolutely critical. The next item, I called it duck on the pond, and this is more to commiserate with all of us together. Just know that you're not alone. So, and what I mean by that is, I think you see leaders of organizations, and you think about the duck on the pond. You know, the duck it looks like everything's under control and just smoothly going about its business. Meanwhile, underneath the water, little legs are just going like crazy to try and avoid the danger that's around the corner. And I just want to sort of point out, we all feel that way. So when you start feeling that it's sort of building up and it's kind of insurmountable and think you're the only one that happens, it's not that way. It's that way for all of us, and I just wanted to acknowledge that fact. Find a higher purpose, like I talked about. I think that's really critical, both for your business and then also individually. And then from my perspective, we've seen that downtown Duluth is a great place to shape and grow your business. And I think if we think about these things and the other things that we think about all the time, I think it can continue to be that great place. And we've seen that. I've seen that personally, and we've seen it as a company. So that's kind of, I just wanted to close with a special personal thank you. You know, I've been here a long time. I came, as you heard, 1980. So I've been here 40 years as an employee. I've served as the CEO of a larger growing engineering, architectural, and planning company. And I just want to thank all of you for the support that you've given the company and the support that you've given to me personally. It's so appreciative, and it's been absolutely a pleasure. Thank you so much.
I have learned so many tips from that old guy over the years, so thank you, Bill. Last week I tried reaching Bill, and he had bad reception because he was in the bowels of the basement of LHB's world headquarters on Superior Street, and he was busy going through years of paperwork. He said perhaps that was his punishment for creating it in the first place. You know, Bill, some people make more than a career out of their work. They make a difference, and you truly have made a difference. So thank you for all of you have done, and we wish you the best in your retirement. Well, yes. I have one parting thought here. I have to do this because as a Packer fan, I just had to share one thing. Oh, come on. Oh, it was a tough week, I know. But I wanted to actually share, it's not going to be a joke, don't worry. I'm going to share a quote from legendary coach Vince Lombardi, and that is, individual commitment to a group effort. That is what makes a team work, a company work, a society work, a civilization work. You all have provided your individual commitment to our group effort of building a stronger downtown, and I thank you for that. And also a special thank, well, yes, okay, all right. A special thanks again tonight for our sponsors for their generous support. You make us better. We thank you so much for that. We continue to pack this ballroom, and it shows in your dedication to the heart of our community. And it shows you like to have fun, too, so we appreciate that. That's why we are going to be wrapping it up right now. We have one last item on the agenda before our crafter party downstairs, so make sure you stay for that. That is selecting the winners of our raffle items. We had UMD student athletes here helping us sell tickets, so they did a great job. If I select your ticket, please come forward. We actually have the items right here. Dar and Brittany are here, so let's begin. Our first raffle item is from Braun Intertech. Thank you, Braun. And it is number 199363. 363? If this is your number, oh, there you go. Way to go. Our next item is from Kraus Anderson. Thank you, Kraus Anderson. 199628. 628. Boy, front row's doing quite well tonight. Next is Security Jewelers. 199273. Do we have a 273 out there? All right. And finally, from our friends at Valentini's, 214. Number 214. I don't hear a yell yet. 199214. Is that a 214 coming forward? Oh, there's one. All right, congratulations. Well, thank you all for being here tonight. Please join us for the 6th annual crafter party. It is downstairs. You have tasting glasses at your table. Take them with you and enjoy a great evening.